The Ho Chi Tunnels is a must visit when you're in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam. It's a day out where you get to learn about the Vietnamese vs America War, which took place in 1955 to 1975. Here's some of the artillery that we got shown. The Americans withdrew from the war, and we found out why after seeing lots of booby traps. To start with, I wasn't really sure what we were going to, but then as the day went on, I loved it. It felt like a history lesson. To start with, this just looks like a bunch of leaves on the floor, but really, it's a tunnel exit. You can only open this from the inside, and if you open it from the outside, you will trigger a landmine, and then you will be dead. If you're the last one in, you may have to put more leaves on top to make sure you're well hidden. You also need to grab from underneath and make sure your arms are straight, or else you may get stuck on the way in. What's this? Do you think it's moss, a rock, an anthill? Well, that's what we guessed as well, and we were wrong. It's air ventilation for the tunnels. The Vietnamese would wear American soap to trick them. This was a lucky trap, as 95% of people that fell in would stay alive. This was to induce fear into the Americans. This is a false tunnel entrance, where the Vietnamese left malaria-ridden mosquitoes for the Americans to get stung by. There were two different coloured uniforms in the war, green and black. The green uniform meant you were a soldier, however the black uniform meant you would be a farmer in the day and a soldier during the night, including women, old people and children. This was the Americans' base, and tanks never went more than 20 kilometres away from the base. The Americans had 11,000 American soldiers in their base. One of the ways to stop a tank would be to use landmines on it.
After seeing all these booby traps, me and Paris now joke whenever we walk over a drain in Vietnam that we're going to fall down one and we will die. Good old Vietnam War humour.
This door trap has arrowheads on it, so they will not come out without it making you bleed to death. During the war, the Vietnamese would not have their own gunpowder, so they would look out for unexploded bombs from the Americans, and two people would take their time, at least 4 hours, to cut the bomb open. They would have some water on standby in case they needed to put the bomb out, but sometimes they wouldn't be so lucky and the bomb would explode, causing them to die. The Vietnamese would make big landmines that would look like trees or twigs. These would be able to blow off a leg or kill people. We got to see some cannons that were used in the war, and then also had an opportunity to shoot a gun. Going round on the tour, you can hear these guns going off the whole time, which was quite scary. A team of 5 would make a tunnel, 3 on the inside and 2 on the outside. They would be able to dig 2 metres in one night. Before making the tunnel, they would make ventilation. In the war, the shoes were made out of tyres. They would be able to fit both feet and be adjustable in size. The shoes fitting both feet would confuse the Americans, as they wouldn't understand which way they went. The soldiers' names would be on the shoes, so if they were found, they would assume that person had died. We even got a chance to explore the tunnels ourselves. It was very small and claustrophobic, so some people ran out straight away. Myself, on the other hand, I went through the whole tunnel, because I'm not scared or a pussy like Ben. As I mentioned earlier, the Vietnamese did have some air ventilation to trick the Americans with. They would use American soaps, so their sniffer dogs would not think that it's Vietnamese people in the tunnels. They would think it's just the normal smell of Americans. On the other hand, the Vietnamese are very sneaky, so they did make some false air ventilation, which they would fill with pepper and chilli. When the sniffer dogs would sniff these, they would sneeze, so the sniffer dogs would not be able to sniff anymore. Some of the Vietnamese were born in the tunnels, and they were also raised in them for up to 20 years. This is mind-blowing. They were able to dig in medical stations, places to sleep, kitchens, and even classrooms for the children to still get an education while in the tunnels. As I was crawling through the tunnel, I realised that some of the rocks were quite smooth from where lots of people would brush past them and just the wear and tear of the tunnel. After crawling through the tunnels, we got to try some tapioca with crushed peanuts. We didn't love it ourselves, but this was a common meal during the war.
And after trying that,
Awful.
If you look closely, you can see some smoke on the ground. This was the kitchen from underneath. They were only allowed to cook first thing in the morning so that the smoke could be hidden by the mist. The city of Saigon was renamed to Ho Chi Minh in honour of this man, the former president of Vietnam. The tour ended with a video detailing more of the history. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe!
Smash.